Hello everyone! Welcome to a new grammar lesson. In this lesson, we want to talk about the past, things that were happening in the past. Are you ready for that? Let's start. I want to start with a very short story about Wendy. One day, she decided to go to a park where the trees were moving, the birds were singing, and the sun was shining bright in the sky. This is the place Wendy decided to go to so she could read her book. After some time, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. She was still reading. Little by little, the clouds filled the sky above Wendy. Suddenly, it started to rain, which surprised her. Luckily, she had her umbrella with her. And I have some questions for you. Think carefully about the story and answer them. Where was she at 3 p.m.? She was at the park. Did she start reading the book before 3? Yes, she did. Was the action reading the book an ongoing action or a finished action at 3 p.m.? An ongoing action. Did she continue reading after 3? Maybe, but in this example, she continued reading after 3. So, we want to talk about an ongoing, continuous action, something that was going on. So, what is the sentence that I can write about Wendy reading her book at that time in the past? She was reading her book at 3. 3 yesterday. At 3 yesterday. I'm not talking about now. If I said now, it would be like, she is reading her book now. But I'm talking about a continuous action in the past. So I say she was reading her book at 3 yesterday in the past. She was reading her book. Reading, 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 continuous action. When it started to rain. Suddenly it started to rain. Which action happened first? Reading a book or raining? Reading a book. This happened first. Did she stop reading when it started to rain? Look at her. She stopped reading. The continuous action stopped because something else happened. It started to rain. So yes, she stopped reading when it started to rain. So raining, one action, happened in the middle of another action, reading. She was reading her book when it started to rain. In this sentence, we have two clauses. The first one, she was reading her book, and the second one is when it started to rain. And in this clause, what is the form of the verb? It started. It's past simple. I never say it was starting to rain. No, it's a short action. It just starts in seconds and it's not continuous. When something starts, it's just in a second, right? It doesn't start again and start again and start again and start again because it doesn't make sense. So in the when clause, we use simple past. And we can also use the when clause in the first part of the sentence, but we need to lose the period and have comma. But when we have when in the second part, we have no commas. So remember this. Which one is the continuous action? Reading a book. She was reading a book. And what is the action that happened in the middle of it? It started to rain. We, for example, don't know what she was doing when it started to rain. We want to ask a question about her action at that time. We can say, what was she doing when it started to rain? She was reading her book when it started to rain. Now think about yourself. What were you doing? Think about the last time that it rained and think about the action you were doing when that happened. So, your action needs to be a continuous one. And something happened in the middle of it. For example, it started to rain. So, what were you doing when it started to rain? One more example can be, what were you doing when you hit the brake? For example, you were driving and you suddenly hit the brake. At that time, what were you doing? Or when you sneezed. Were you writing something when you sneezed? Or maybe you were cooking when you sneezed. I don't know. You think about that. Or when you fell down. For example, I was running when I fell down. Or what were you doing when your teacher entered the classroom? So, all these actions are finished short actions. So use this sentence and complete it to write about yourselves. I was talking on the phone when I hit the brake. Write your sentences in the comments and read each other's sentences and practice this structure. Have fun!